but so skin tight, so transparent. This is what you see in the fashion industries and people are in. Or there's hardly any clothes in your body, but still, I mean, there's some clothes, but your body is seen.
Okay, so what's the significance of that?
That's happened that clear 1400 years ago.
That it would be the case that people would wear skin-tight clothes.
So this is one of the prophecies of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We talked about how during the end of times, towards later in the future generations, this is what will happen. People will be wearing clothes, and still the nakedness will be seen.
So is it? Oh, it's not in the Quran. That prediction.
This is a hadith.
Okay. Oh, you said you were going to talk about some of the predictions.
No, not in the Quran. I think because you see people like us that we wrote.
Hashim's there.
I mean, I know the one, isn't it Quran, Pharaoh is predicted that he'll make, he's going to be visible. You know what I mean?
So, no, there are various pieces of information in the Quran that you can use, whether it's to do with prophecies or information of natural phenomena.
Right. The gentleman said that there are miraculous predictions or prophecies in the Quran, like the one, for example, about the defeat of the Persians.
There's like a star as well.
That the Persians and the Romans, when the Quran talks about it, that they will soon be victorious again, and bid'a sinin in Arabic between 3 and 9 years, and this is exactly what happened.
So who would be victorious again?
So he says, غُلِبَتُ الرُّوم, the Romans have been defeated. But we know that at that time the context is the Romans and the Persians were fighting with each other. And there is a whole history to this conflict between the Romans and the Persians.
Do you feel like in that particular context where it talks about the conflict between the Romans and the Persians, that it makes predictions that could be considered miraculous? No. As in with information...
When the Romans are already defeated, the Quran is saying no, again, they will be victorious again very soon, within 3 to 9 years.
Do you agree that that it's accurate to characterize that conflict between the Persians and the Romans as having been quite back and forth for hundreds of years prior to those events?
But to say that they will be victorious again within a certain time frame is what is the important...
Did he give a date?
Bid'a sinin is between 3 and 9 years. What if they were victorious 15 years later? Then that information will be wrong in the Quran.
I mean, it's not...
What if they became victorious the next month? It will be wrong in the Quran. The fact that the Quran specifies a specific time frame, and this is when this happens.
Specific, but you're saying it gives like a window of 6 years.
No, that is the specificity. It's not saying simply like they will be victorious some point in the future. That's very vague. But putting a time frame.
It could have given a specific week or month or year, right?
You see,
it could have been more specific. I'm saying.
No. Now you want more specific. I'm saying when the Quran specifies a specific time frame, that itself is something to look into. Why? It could have been like this next month or 15, 20 years later, but the fact that it never happened according to this time frame, but happened as the Quran indicated, that needs to be really asked.
No, I
how
agree
so?
with you. I agree that it's deserving of investigation.
Sure.
I wouldn't just out of hand say that's miraculous. Is the point? The point that was being made is that this is an example of a miraculous.
Let's not use the word miraculous. Let's say they use the Quranic statements of these kind of things as really worth deliberating, reflecting and pondering upon. How does the Quran make these kind of statements?
I agree. That I agree with that.
Because to say miraculous, of course, you need to say how this amounts to a miracle. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
No, I appreciate that.
Like even when the Quran describes about the Tariq, the Najm, the stars which are piercing and so bright,
I think
it's not the right weather. When the Quran describes the stars, they're like hammering, they're knocking, and that's how we even heard the noises or the sounds of those stars. They're actually like knock, 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 knock with different frequencies. They're called pulsars for a reason, pulsating stars. So when the Quran describes those things, I mean, there's no way
to read that in more detail as well. Where can I find that?
Surah Al-Tariq, Surah 86. This is the very beginning of this surah, Ayah 1. Okay, I'm coming. Yeah. So Surah Al-Tariq, والسماء والطارق. So this is how only now we realize this. How does Quran describe about the Tariq, which is Al-Najm al-Thaqib, the star which is piercing and bright, because we know that they emit all this gamma rays and other rays as well. So it's so bright they penetrate. Normal radiations penetrate. You can stop them through penetration, right? But these things, they penetrate several, like they can penetrate the whole of, I don't know, whole of the earth or not. That's how strong this magnetic force are. The electromagnetic penetrations. So when the Quran describes things like this, I mean, to the least, that's amazing. To the least. And to the most, you'll have to explain how do you have this information mentioned in the Quran.
Yeah, I think it's worthy of investigation. Because I think sometimes some quite sweeping statements are made, like nobody knew this information at that time.
And when you find that people may have,
actually,
agree.
But it's a very interesting.
Very interesting. So we have to phrase our statements in a nuanced way, so that people can then, independently go and investigate, ponder, reflect, and then if they find that actually they can't explain it, then you have to really ask them. Okay, then you come up with your theories. The Quran says this knowledge is from God. If you don't believe in that, then you have to come up with something that's working, workable theories.
I suppose for most agnostics like myself, we try to kind of find a secular explanation for
a natural explanation
phenomenon. Yeah, so I'm always open to hear the examples of what are regarded as pieces of information that could only have been disseminated miraculously or through supernatural means, so that we can investigate them. And
absolutely. On these issues of stars again, the Quran talks about God is taking an oath بمواقع النجوم, by the position of the stars. It's only now, as you and I know, that when we see stars in the sky, when clear sky at night, what we see is not where the stars are at the moment. These are perhaps millions of years ago where the star was. The stars have moved away or they have died.
The light has travelled over such a vast distance that...
No, the star itself, either it's died and become a black hole or whatever dwarf it's called, or it's moved away from its position. So when we actually see the historical past where the star was. And the Quran is talking about the position of the star. God is taking an oath of the position of the stars. Yeah? So we don't see the stars, it's only the position that we see. There's a lot to investigate, but I think a few examples will be worth going into deep and seeing what did the Greeks and the Romans and the Persians and the Hindus, what did they know about it, how much did they know, and if the knowledge of such kind was absent, how did people in Arabia, specifically Prophet Muhammad know? How did he know when his people didn't know, people around him didn't know? Then one needs to really come up with some workable, explanations. Because if it's not revelation, then you have to be, able to explain away. If you can't explain away, at least, be open to the truth. But actually, it could be knowledge through revelation.
You never know.
Yeah. Thank you. Anyway, thank you. We're going to go and pray Maghrib now. Okay, take care.
That was quick.